Praise God. I love giving testimonies because testimony shows that you went through the test and it turned out to be a testimony. I had a person come to me, it's a family member, and we had a family member that was on a deathbed, had MS. She was in another state. And when the person called, they were crying. And they were saying that there was no way, that all her neurons were gone in her brain. She wasn't breathing on her own, that everything just looked hopeless. It looked downhill. They even went so far as talking about cremating her. I said, wait a minute, hold it. She's not dead yet. I said, this is what we're going to do. and I'm sure in their hearts were beating fast when I said this. We're going to take Matthew 18 to 19. I don't have a doctor's bag. I'm not going to be in Chicago where she is. But I know one thing, that this petition that I know how to petition through faith with prayer, that it's unlimited, it's boundless, it's immeasurable, and it can go anywhere. So, of course, they were looking at me like, person that my relative here was looking at me like, you just going too far. You've just gone too far. Don't you understand that the doctor said she wasn't going to make it? So we prayed that prayer of faith. We prayed that prayer of faith. I want to say I prayed that prayer of faith. They were just with me, and the word said, where two or more of us joined together, that he was in the midst of it. But I want you to know my faith was so strong that I was believing that she was going to live and not die. And I prayed that prayer of faith, and we stood on it, and it said that I could, that the Matthew 18, 19 said whatever I bind, that means whatever I forbid on earth will be loose from heaven. I want to tell you something, brothers and sisters. 3 days later, that lady started breathing again. And the relative I had flew there. And the person that was unconscious said the eyes were just open and it looked like they were just dead. And all of a sudden the eyes blinked after we did the prayer. The next day it blinked again. Then the person smiled at the person that they saw that coming to see him. And then when the person came back a day later, that person walked out of the hospital breathing on her own. I want to tell you, our God is awesome. Now I'm witnessing that to say something to somebody else. Nothing, and I want to say this, is impossible when you believe. Now I want you to do this. Whatever you're going through, somebody going through something right now, I can feel it in my spirit. Unite faith with the word, believe it when you say it. No matter what the situation looks like, what it feels like, it's not by your strength of might. It's going to be by his spirit. Now you do all this possible and let him do the impossible. God bless you.